Hey everyone, and welcome. We often talk about the importance of taking care of our physical health, eating right, exercising, getting enough sleep, all that good stuff. But what about our mental and emotional well-being? That's what we're diving into today. We're talking about burnout, and trust me, it's something we all need to be aware of. Because burnout doesn't discriminate. It affects students buried in books, incredible healthcare workers pulling double shifts, parents juggling families and jobs. It can impact anyone. So, how do you know if you're experiencing burnout? Well, it's more than just feeling tired. It's this constant state of exhaustion, mentally, physically, emotionally, that just seems to seep into every part of your life. And if we ignore it, well, it can have some pretty serious consequences. But don't worry, we're going to break it all down. And more importantly, we're going to talk about how to overcome it. So stick around because this is a conversation we all need to be a part of. All right, let's talk about burnout. And let's be clear, it's not just about having a long day or needing an extra cup of coffee. This isn't your garden variety tired. Burnout is a whole other beast. It's like this exhaustion that just seeps into your bones. It's feeling completely drained, like you're running on fumes, even after a good night's sleep, which, by the way, is probably hard to come by when you're burned out. And it's not just physical, it's mental and emotional too. You might feel cynical, detached, lose interest in things you used to love. Work becomes a chore, and even spending time with loved ones can feel exhausting. It's like the color just drains out of life, leaving everything feeling gray and heavy. So yeah, burnout is a big deal, and it's not something we should just try to push through or ignore. Recognizing the signs is the first step to reclaiming your energy, your passion, your life. Now, you might be thinking, okay, burnout sounds rough, but is it really that serious? And the answer is, unfortunately, yes. Because here's the thing about burnout, it doesn't just stay contained, it's like this domino effect, impacting every aspect of your life. Your relationships might start to suffer because you're just too exhausted to be fully present. Your work performance takes a hit, and suddenly you're stuck in this vicious cycle of feeling inadequate and even more burned out. And physically, burnout can wreak havoc on your body. We're talking headaches, insomnia, weakened immune system, the whole 9 yards. It can even increase your risk of serious health problems down the line. The bottom line is, burnout is a big deal. It's not something to be taken lightly or brushed under the rug. It's time we start talking about it openly and honestly so we can learn how to prevent it and support those who are struggling. So we've established that burnout is a real and serious issue. But what actually causes it? Well, it's not always one single thing, but a perfect storm of factors that can lead us down this path. For some, it's the pressure cooker of school. Students facing mountains of homework, the constant pressure of exams, and this expectation to excel in every aspect of their lives. It's a recipe for burnout. Then there's the workplace. Toxic work environments, unrealistic deadlines, long hours, these can all contribute to burnout. And let's not forget about parents, the constant juggling act of work, family, finances, and all the emotional labor that comes with raising a family. It's a lot to handle, and it's no wonder so many parents are feeling burned out. And even those in leadership positions aren't immune. The weight of big decisions, the pressure to constantly perform, and the constant scrutiny, it can take a toll. Burnout can impact anyone, regardless of age, profession, or background. Okay, so we've talked about how burnout can impact everyone, but let's dive a little deeper into some of the specific causes. And let's start with one of the most common culprits, unrealistic expectations. Think about it. We're constantly bombarded with messages telling us to do more, be more, achieve more. Hustle culture glorifies overworking. Social media feeds us this curated perfection, and we're left feeling like we're constantly falling short. This pressure to live up to these impossible standards can be absolutely exhausting. It's like we're on this never-ending treadmill, running and running, but never actually getting anywhere. No wonder we're feeling burned out. And it's not just external pressure. Sometimes we put the pressure on ourselves. We set unrealistic goals, strive for perfection in everything we do, and then beat ourselves up when we inevitably fall short. It's this constant cycle of self-imposed pressure that can really take a toll. Now, unrealistic expectations are a major contributor to burnout, but let's not forget about the role of our environment, because let's be honest, a toxic environment can suck the life out of even the most passionate and dedicated individuals. And when we talk about toxic environments, we're talking about workplaces that thrive on overwork, where long hours are praised and taking a break is seen as a weakness. We're talking about cultures of negativity, where gossip and backstabbing run rampant. These kinds of environments breed burnout. They make it impossible to disconnect, to set boundaries, to prioritize our well-being. And over time, the constant stress and negativity can really wear us down. And it's not just the workplace. Toxic relationships can also contribute to burnout. Being surrounded by negativity, drama, and constant conflict can be incredibly draining. It's like a constant emotional roller coaster that leaves us feeling exhausted and depleted. We've talked about unrealistic expectations and toxic environments, but let's not forget about another major contributor to burnout: lack of control. When we feel like we have no agency over our own lives, like we're constantly at the mercy of external forces, it can be incredibly stressful. Think about it. When you're constantly being micromanaged at work, or when you have zero control over your schedule, it can feel like you're constantly on edge. And over time, that lack of control can lead to feelings of helplessness, frustration, and ultimately burnout. And it's not just at work. Parents often feel this lack of control, especially when their children are young. The constant demands, the sleepless nights, the feeling of never having a moment to yourself, it can be completely overwhelming. And let's not forget about those who are caring for loved ones with chronic illnesses. The emotional, physical, and financial toll can be immense, and the lack of control over the situation can be incredibly challenging. All right, everyone, we need to talk about the elephant in the room, and that elephant is wearing a three-piece suit, chugging coffee at midnight, and saying things like, "I'll sleep when I'm dead." Sound familiar? We've talked about what burnout is and what causes it, but now it's time to get real about what burnout can do to your life. Because here's the thing, burnout doesn't just make you feel bad, it can take a serious toll on every aspect of your life. We're talking relationships with your loved ones, your physical health, your mental well-being, and even your financial security. Burnout is a silent killer, slowly chipping away at your foundation until, well, you know. But hey, don't worry, it's not all doom and gloom here. We're going to break down the impact of burnout, and more importantly, we're going to talk about how to fight back and reclaim your life. So stick with me, folks, because this is where things get good, really good. First, let's talk about your relationships. When you're burned out, you're running on fumes. You're short-tempered, impatient, and frankly not much fun to be around. This can lead to arguments, misunderstandings, and a whole lot of hurt feelings with the people you care about most. And then there's your mental health. Burnout can manifest as anxiety, depression, and even panic attacks. It's like your brain is constantly stuck in overdrive, and eventually it just crashes. But wait, there's more. Prolonged stress can wreak havoc on your physical health too. We're talking headaches, insomnia, digestive issues, weakened immune system, you name it. Burnout probably makes it worse. And if all that wasn't enough, burnout can also impact your ability to perform at work or in school, which can lead to financial stress, missed opportunities, and a whole lot of self-doubt. It's a vicious cycle, my friends, and it can feel impossible to escape. But here's the good news. Burnout doesn't have to be a life sentence. It's not a character flaw, and it definitely doesn't mean you're weak. It just means you've been going through a lot, and it's time to prioritize yourself. We're going to talk about practical steps you can take to overcome burnout in the next chapter. But for now, just know this. You are not alone, and there is hope. Remember, acknowledging the impact of burnout is the first step towards healing and reclaiming your life. It's time to stop normalizing burnout and start prioritizing our well-being. We deserve to live lives filled with joy, purpose, and energy. So are you ready to break free from the burnout trap? Let's do this. All right, everyone, we've talked about what burnout is, where it comes from, and the serious impact it can have on our lives. It's some heavy stuff, but knowing your opponent is half the battle, right? So now let's shift gears a bit. Let's talk about how to kick burnout to the curb. The first step is admitting you have a problem, right? And with burnout, that means recognizing the warning signs. Are you feeling constantly exhausted? Even after a good night's sleep, are you more cynical and negative than usual? Is your fuse shorter than a hamster's attention span? These could be signs that burnout is knocking on your door. Listen, it's not always easy to admit we're struggling. We live in a world that often glorifies busyness and pushing ourselves to the limit. But remember, asking for help isn't a weakness, it's a sign of incredible strength. You're strong for being here, for educating yourself, and for wanting to make a positive change. And that's what this is all about, folks. It's about taking back control of your life, your well-being, and your happiness. So if you're feeling those burnout vibes creeping in, don't ignore them. Acknowledge them, and let's start working on solutions together. Okay, so you've recognized the signs. You're ready to tackle this thing head on. Fantastic. Step 2 is all about taking a break. And I'm not just talking about a 15-minute coffee break, although those are good too. I'm talking about real intentional time off. And think of it like this. You wouldn't drive your car for thousands of miles without stopping for gas, right? Well, your mind and body need refueling too, and that means giving yourself permission to rest, to recharge, and to step away from the daily grind. Whether it's a weekend getaway, a staycation at home, or even just a few hours to yourself each week, prioritizing rest is crucial. Read a book, take a bath, go for a walk in nature, whatever helps you unwind and de-stress. Remember, rest isn't a luxury, it's an absolute necessity. And the best part? When you return from your break, you'll be amazed at how much clearer your mind is, how much more energy you have, and how much more equipped you are to handle whatever life throws your way. All right, feeling refreshed and re-energized? Good, because step 3 is all about setting boundaries and learning the power of saying no. And trust me, this one can be a game changer. We often feel pressured to say yes to everything and everyone, but here's the thing. Every time you say yes to something you don't really want to do, you're saying no to something that truly matters to you. Maybe it's saying no to extra work projects so you can say yes to spending time with loved ones. Or maybe it's saying no to social events that drain you so you can say yes to that pottery class you've been wanting to take. Learning to say no without guilt is a crucial part of preventing burnout. It's about prioritizing your needs and making sure you're not overextending yourself. And guess what? The people who truly care about you will understand and respect your boundaries. Remember, you are the CEO of your own life. You get to decide what you take on and what you delegate. And sometimes the most productive thing you can do is to politely decline and focus on what truly matters. Step 4 is all about self-care, and no, I'm not talking about face masks and bubble baths, although those are great too. I'm talking about prioritizing the fundamentals: sleep, exercise, and healthy eating. Think of these as your self-care power-ups. When you're sleep-deprived, your body and mind are running on fumes. Aim for 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep each night, and you'll be amazed at the difference it makes. Exercise is another burnout buster. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. A brisk walk, a yoga class, or even just dancing around your living room can do wonders for your mood and energy levels. And of course, we can't forget about food. You know the saying, you are what you eat? Well, it's true. Fueling your body with nutritious foods gives you the energy and resilience you need to thrive. So ditch the processed junk and embrace whole foods that nourish your body and mind. All right, we're on the home stretch, folks. Step 5 is all about seeking support. And no, I don't mean your 800 follower account on social media. I'm talking about real, genuine human connection. Whether it's a trusted friend, family member, therapist, or life coach, having a support system to lean on can make all the difference. Talking about your struggles, fears, and frustrations can help you gain clarity, perspective, and a renewed sense of hope. Remember, you don't have to go through this alone. There are people who care about you and want to help. And sometimes, just knowing you're not alone in your struggles can be incredibly empowering. And hey, if you're not sure where to start, there are countless online resources, support groups, and hotlines available. Don't hesitate to reach out and connect with others who understand what you're going through. All right, high five for making it this far. You're armed with tools to tackle burnout head on. But what about making sure it doesn't become a recurring villain in your life? That's where prevention comes in, and it's way more fun than battling burnout after it's taken root. Think of it like building a fortress of well-being. First up, the daily reset routine. It's like hitting the refresh button on your day, but way more fun than your computer screen going black. We're talking about incorporating small, intentional breaks throughout your day to recharge before you're running on empty. Imagine this. You're deep in a project laser focus, but you're starting to feel that familiar tension creep in. Instead of pushing through until you're fried, you take a 15-minute break. Step away from your desk, stretch, grab a healthy snack, maybe listen to your favorite uplifting song. These mini resets throughout the day are like deposits into your well-being bank account. You're taking preventative measures to combat stress before it even has a chance to wear you down. And trust me, your future self will thank you for it. Next up in our burnout prevention arsenal, setting realistic goals. We all have big dreams and aspirations, which is awesome. But sometimes we get caught up in the pursuit of perfection, setting unrealistic expectations that set us up for disappointment and, you guessed it, burnout. Remember, progress over perfection, my friends. Instead of aiming to climb Mount Everest in a day, unless you're an actual superhero, in which case carry on, break down your goals into manageable, bite-sized steps. Think of it like this. You wouldn't try to eat an entire cake in one sitting, would you? Okay, bad example. Sometimes a whole cake does sound good, but you get the point. You savor each bite, enjoy the process, and appreciate the journey. The same goes for your goals. Celebrate the small victories along the way, adjust your course if needed, and remember that setbacks are not failures. They're opportunities to learn and grow. You've got this. Okay, time for a confession. How many of you are currently watching this on a phone, tablet, or laptop? Don't worry, I'm not judging, I'm right there with you. But in all seriousness, this next burnout prevention tip is all about unplugging from technology. We live in a hyper-connected world, constantly bombarded with notifications, emails, and social media updates. It's exhausting, and all that screen time can lead to digital fatigue, eye strain, and even disrupt our sleep. Not exactly a recipe for a peaceful, balanced life, right? So how do we unplug without going completely off the grid? Start small. Designate specific times each day to step away from your devices. And maybe it's an hour before bed, to wind down with a good book, or a tech-free Sunday morning to enjoy a leisurely breakfast with loved ones. And when you are using technology, be mindful of your consumption. Unfollow accounts that stress you out, turn off unnecessary notifications, and remember that you are in control of your digital diet. Your mind and body will thank you for it. That's it, everyone. We did it. We tackled burnout head on, explored its causes, learned how to overcome it, and even armed ourselves with prevention strategies for a brighter, more balanced future. Now it's your turn. Are you ready to break free from burnout and take back your life? I believe in you.